Welcome back to another episode of Delusions of Automotive Grandeur. Today's episode, the gang talks Star Wars, Lamborghini design, and hybrid engines. Strap in. It's time for DAG Show.
Do you want to talk car bullshit? Let's talk car bullshit.
And we're starting.
Nice. Right on.
Welcome back to another episode of Delusions of Automotive Grandeur, or Delusions of Guitaring with
I
Steven.
once used to own
I mean,
a Volkswagen New Beetle. It was not the turbo. It was slow as a Mini Cooper.
Honest.
Excellent.
It's to roll a Mini Cooper. Just
Especially with GP3.
Carefully.
just maybe stage it with some cameras ready to go. People are already dissecting that, by the way, in the comments, where the person like driving had different color shorts than the guy who's actually claims he was driving it.
Interesting. So
Stuntman.
Are they claiming it's not real?
The guy's been known to fib in the past. Now, of course, I'm basing this all on one comment that I read. So it's like,
You know, it's bad. It's a bad day for internet clout when you have to lie about possibly rolling a Mini Cooper. Like, that just seems so petty.
well, and it's just so today, like, because people were saying, because, the person may have, let's say it wasn't fake and they were just going to be like hooning in the grass, that would have had a lot of hits.
Sure.
But the fact that the person rolled it and did something incredibly dumb, now they get
Now
more
it goes
hits
viral.
and the car's
Yeah.
paid.
But the other thing is it's a GP3 in which it's only 1,500 were made overall. It's like,
Oh, is that a super special edition that I was not aware of?
yeah, it's the
Like
one
300
with
horsepower.
the weird wide body carbon fiber arches there on the side.
Oh, okay.
And the wing and all
Gotcha.
that fun stuff. Yeah, I think it's like 300 horsepower or something like that. But yeah,
Does it have a
Cool.
diff?
I believe so. Yeah.
so. I think almost everybody now, like when they're getting into the upper echelons of their hot hatch, is now adding some sort of diff or holodex, whatever you want to call it these days.
Charlie, there's actually a like Ford Racing diff for my car. It's like, if you have it installed by Ford, I don't think it voids any warranties even.
Cool. You gonna get it?
No.
Disappointing.
I now have too many cars again.
I mean, just wait. When's the Falcon show up?
I have got work off next Friday, an appointment at the DMV in Charlottesville. You have to have an appointment. There's no appointments till mid-September.
Yep.
So I am going to go to the DMV in where my parents live, in the middle of nowhere. I believe they open at like 8:30, and I'm going to get there at like 7:30 with a good book and a lawn chair. And I'm just going to like get in there, get that title transferred, and get out.
You should go for 7, not 7:30. 7:30, you're already gonna be like 10th in line.
Number 200.
See, now back in the day, Brent, there was this thing called you had to go buy concert tickets in person.
Mm-hmm.
And you had to go there but early. I remember like when because I'm so old, when the first Star Wars prequel came out. Fantastic movie. God, that Jar Jar Binks. You guys want to see my Jar Jar tattoo?
No.
Yes.
Okay. There's a split.
This is where you turn around and pull down your pants, right? Like, and show your cheek. Actually,
okay.
Hey, look, if you got a Jar Jar Binks butt tattoo, I want to know more. Were you inebriated when it happened?
I was not inebriated. He's actually in a Mark II GTI, leaning out the window, giving a thumbs up.
I support this. And then that actually leads me to a great ask. I feel like we have always joked about this name, Delusions of Automotive Grandeur, which is like for the non-Star Wars and car nerds that are listening, the two out there maybe. Obviously, that Delusions of Grandeur generally is just a joke to Han in Episode 6. Um, I've always thought about this of uh, what is the alignment of various brands on whether they are light side or dark Empire or the Rebels, or have y'all thought about this before?
I have. I've given it much thought, of course.
So much thought. Good.
See, the thing is, Charlie, is back in the 90s, there was a video game called X-Wing.
I remember that. I played it. It was in Norfolk International Arcade at the airport.
Well, this is all I know is that game, like, and I wanted, there was a character named Charlie. Brent's like, what does this have to do with cars? It doesn't. Basically I wanted to be in Rogue Squadron. There was a squadron of X-Wings. All I did was go around and blow shit up, and X-Wing, double up. There's actually a new Star Wars game coming out called Star Wars Squadrons. Have you seen this, Charlie?
No, I have not.
Actually, all flying.
Yes, I did.
Just forget about it, Brent. You're fine, Brent. Just keep, you'll be okay. We'll get back to you. But keep twiddling your thumbs. But X-Wing was actually like a simulator, and every other like game has been arcadey. And finally, someone's like, why don't we use modern graphics and everything and make one that's like not made for dum-dums? It's like you have to manage your energy and everything. And it'll
be Rogue Squadron 2, but better and modern.
But no, it's a simulator. You have to manage your energy and stuff. Full shields, balanced shield energy with lasers versus propulsion. But the best part, VR compatible. And I'm just like,
that's gonna make so many people so sick. I
will vomit for that. I'd be proud to vomit for that. Broadbent just vomited because he tried to use a hacked variant of Formula 1 2020, which was like, it doesn't actually support VR, but some programmers like hacked it to kind of work. It just makes you throw up instantly, like on which he did, which is glorious.
Perfect.
I mean, are you light side or dark side?
Am I?
Yeah, you never. You brought it up, but you never went.
I was asking more of a car affiliations.
Well, what the fuck? I thought you were literally talking about Star Wars.
I mean, we can.
No.
There was an analogy or something? Okay.
There was. Did you not listen to the question?
Well, it was
I got excited because I thought we were going to talk about Star Wars.
We could talk Star Wars. Like, it's a little off topic. I can bring it back around.
Very off topic.
Being related to car stuff, like I could tell you, the seats of the Millennium Falcon are old Porsche turbo seats. Did you know that?
I wonder if they're worth more as old Porsche turbo seats or as seats from the Millennium Falcon.
Neither.
Millennium Falcon, I think.
It's a turbo. It's like a 944 turbo. So like.
Yeah.
It's really
So if we pause and rewind, can we start over with the Star Wars thing? Like, what did I miss?
I was thinking. So the name of the show is Delusions of Automotive Grandeur. So if every brand had to be sorted into a Imperial or Rebel Alliance, or how would it go? Like, would Volkswagen be Empire? Which like that also feels weird, but also likely because like their brand affiliation in general is kind of just a little like
it's a little sketchy.
Well, it's sort of Anakin-y because it starts off dark side and then goes light side, like. Well, actually, no, light side, dark side, light side.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm an ass. I'm sorry, I messed that up.
Yeah, it was funny. It made for great material.
We can talk about Star Wars for days.
We'll have a separate podcast for that.
Deep down, I am an X-Wing pilot. That's an interesting question. Well,
Ford is also the Empire.
Very much so.
Let's start with light side, because light side implies just there's no ambiguity. It's pretty obvious. They're just Mazda. This is just a good thing. Mazda,
I was gonna say Subaru.
Mazda and Subaru light side, like firmly.
I mean, Subaru donates a lot of their money to dog organizations and everything else for adopting dogs and whatnot.
They're a generally feel-good brand.
Yeah,
we're ignoring the whole like World War II making engines thing.
I wasn't.
Okay.
There are a lot of let's be real. There are a lot of German brands. They're on the wrong side.
Well, also, like it's not like I can't
Those-
believe we're talking about this. It's not like the Jedi were perfect.
No.
So we can.
Well, I mean, you're making internal combustion engines, so again, that nobody's perfect.
unless like your mission is to never mind. All right, so we need purely happy. Yeah, I think those two are pretty good. Who else would go in that category though?
Pontiac.
Do we need to pour some out for Pontiac?
Rip.
Where's my 40?
I mean, look, Jedi also went extinct, so this is only getting better.
they're just sort of on a vacation from existence.
It's an extended vacation, also like the Jedi.
Yes. I'm going to go with, let's go back to the dark side. See, I keep thinking like, brooding, powerful, dark. And I keep thinking about the Porsche 919 hybrid. Just some beast of a hybrid car.
Yeah, I was
It's not
thinking
that big.
I was thinking like Audi would be like the Knights of Ren, like the new stuff where it's like they're
Yeah.
brooding. Also like it's like muscle T brooding, where it's like you're not really that scary. You're just like you look intimidating, but really you're not a whole lot there. Like
Brent. Hi, Brent. Where is Hummer in this Star Wars spectrum?
is that General Grievous?
Damn.
No, and this is all Brent. Charlie, wait, let's see what he says.
I mean, that would be like Darth Vader, but you could put Ford as Darth Vader though too.
See, we could get into models because the original Hummer is Darth Vader. The H2s and 3s and whatever the other bloated suburban ones were, they're just sort of like Jar Jar. Dark Jar Jar. This is the best episode ever. I don't even know
This
what's
is
happening.
great. I'm glad I went off. I thought about this like earlier in the week, and I was like, this is gonna be good to spring on y'all. So
I think I know what I need to do just as an homage to this episode, more or less for all time, or until I knock this off and forget about what I'm saying right now. Watch. That's on the. That's.
what's he doing?
There we go. That's an homage to this episode for all time. Or like I said, until I knock it off dusting, because I dust all the time.
Checks out. Everyone
Yeah,
on
man.
audio, just know he had a duster in the background. He definitely swept everything.
I am a cleanliness freak. This shirt, perfectly clean. Perfectly clean. This hair,
definitely recently
it's
washed.
beautiful, but it
this
may not
month.
be clean. I'm just still looking for your hair, Charlie. I'm like,
I mean, my hair is for the audio listeners, it's much shorter in the last few episodes. Got into an accident with a lawnmower.
They can just hear how short your hair is.
Yeah, my resonance is different.
let's each take our mic and rub it against our
Yeah.
heads. Like, the audio listeners have to guess who's doing what.
Yeah.
I have an idea. Let's talk about cars.
Yeah, let's talk cars. Sorry for the Star Wars tangent.
You know how like when you crinkle like a dog treat bag or like a cat treat bag, the way that pets respond to that sound.
The Pavlovian response. Yeah.
I don't know what that means, but I'm pretty sure that I trust you, so it's that.
You ring the bell. The dog wants a treat.
Oh no, this is yes, but this
Yeah,
is
it's a
different. This is just the unabashed like. That's exactly what it is. There's no control over it. It's just like I need that. Yes.
Yes.
There's
I know.
again there's again talk of a Ford truck that's going to be like starting at $18,000 and being actually small. Again,
Yeah.
like a small little tiny truck. Maybe it'll be a stick shift.
Probably not.
Probably not.
All I know is that like when I read that, it was like the title of this article I was reading. I was like, I feel like a dog, and someone has crinkled treats before me.
Someone's like, you want this small low displacement engine? You want this single cab? You want
It's
this
definitely
small
not
bed?
made in America.
Oh, it'll
It's
have
gonna
to be
be-
made. It would have to be made in America, right, to avoid chicken tax?
I think it would probably be more like my Fiesta or something like that, where it's like, but my Fiesta was made in Mexico.
Well, the reason why they don't produce most, even to be made in Mexico, I think you still get hit with the chicken tax.
Oh,
That's
does that
why
mean that?
all the all of the current brand brand new model trucks that are available on the market today are all pretty much made in America, as far as I'm aware, or like assembled in America. Is the or I mean, maybe Mexico, Canada gets an exemption. I can't remember, but I know that's why like you don't have many foreign automakers making trucks anymore. It's not because the big three necessarily have a lock on it. Well,
Just chicken
partly,
tax.
yeah, but it's a lot of the chicken tax.
See,
80s.
when you said that about the Fiesta, it made me think again. I'm like, holy crap! That means there's like the Fiesta is even that much cheaper than I thought it was made. You know, like because
Yeah,
they still made money on it,
yeah.
like somehow.
Well, that's
Um,
why they're that's why so many companies are also cutting their low uh, budget cars from their line because they don't make money on those cars.
yeah.
So,
I think that the original point of a lot of those entry level things is just to kind of get you hooked on a brand, and then you start
yep.
buying up later when you have extra money. I'm still waiting for that extra money thing. Bullet point number 2,
Bullet point.
Jeep. I believe it's the. I was supposed to have a link ready so I could know which models it was. Are you both familiar with the Prius 4-wheel drive car, the all-wheel drive one?
All-wheel drive, no.
Standard
Nope.
Prius. What'd you say, Brent?
I said nope, not really, because you know, I
Does it
just
come?
hate the Prius, so
I kind of. This is gonna be,
I don't
you know,
really.
this is blasphemous, but I kind of like the look of the Prius Prime. I don't think I would ever want to drive one personally, but like it definitely looks a lot better than the like first gen. Anyways,
Yes. So this, everything you just said is correct and true and glorious. But that was actually just sort of a segue because it's the drivetrain I want to talk about there.
yeah,
In essence, what you have in the all-wheel drive Prius, it's the regular old Prius. I don't know all the different numbers and stuff. It's just the one you think of when you think of Prius. Um, it's only a couple grand more than the base model, and it has a slightly bigger battery, and the rear wheels are driven by an electric motor that's totally detached, has nothing to do with the front. You could have a diesel, you could have a steam engine in the front, it doesn't matter. It's a totally separate battery system and drive system for the rear wheels. It only kicks in when you have a loss of traction. And I believe, actually, I don't believe it's a electric only for 20 miles kind of thing. That's the
yeah,
other Prius to plug in.
yeah. They don't
Um,
do that
so the
very
reason I'm
often.
bringing this up is because Jeep has copied this.
Mhm.
And I know they're doing it on the Renegade. I can't remember the other model. Actually, here is the article. So I want to make sure I got the models for our peeps.
Stellantis.
I don't know what you're talking about. Barf, 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 barf. So it's the
Oh,
Renegade 4xe and the Compass 4xe. And essentially it's what I just described, except it's not a hybrid like a Prius for the main engine. So it's a front wheel drive, standard, like small 1 to 2 liter. I don't know. I don't know their motors at all, but just the regular Renegade, except under the back seat, for instance, it's filled with battery. It's not like, so it's like literally on the part you're sitting on is battery,
yeah.
and then the rear wheels are driven electric. And the cool thing is they have up to, I think, like 32 miles, 31 miles, and that's average, so you might get more or less, but it's a fairly honest 31 miles of full electric with it. And one of the interesting things, and something I had not considered before, and of course it adds for traction and stuff, and it is still a Jeep, you know, it's 4-wheel drive, and also compared to the front wheel drive base modelish type one, it has like 2.5 times the torque because of course the electric motors in the back have oodles of torque. But the kind of cool thing is that like a Volt or something in the past, you have 31 miles of electric, and then you switch over to just sort of a conventional. It's not exactly like the Volt, but you
Yep.
can switch over to sort of conventional front wheel drive standard SUV. But the cool part is there are some places like London and stuff like that that have like congestion or whatever charges if you're going to go
Road
into
tax.
London. And the
Yeah.
thing is that if you're an electric car, that is much lower.
Mm-hmm.
So what you can choose to do on the Jeep is go to gas mode, and you can choose when it switches to electric mode. It's not just when you first start driving only. So you could theoretically, if you live outside London, drive, which some of our listeners are, obviously we have a massive following in Europe and Paraguay.
Yes, very much so.
You can choose when you switch to electric. So you can pull right up to that toll booth or whatever, however it works in England and in London, and hit electric mode, and bam, you're electric. And I thought it was kind of cool. You can kind of choose when you're electric, and yeah.
I
What do you
just
guys think
want
of
to
that?
also chime in. They don't really like,
There's
they're
no
not
toll
having
booths.
sniffers.
It's 1927, isn't it?
What's
There's
that?
definitely toll booths. I know it's probably
Oh.
some easy pass shit.
Yeah, it's literally where you register your vehicle is
Mhm.
how they tax it.
Sure.
But yeah, which also is like fascinating. I've already heard of people who like literally register their vehicles and park them out of city, like at a garage to avoid, and they like, basically it's long-term storage outside the
Yeah.
city, kind of like Farah is doing with Smoking Tire of West Side collectors, whatever. But yeah, it's like the same concept, like leave your car there long term, and then when you need it, drive out to it or get driven to it. And it's wild. It's a completely wild concept
So
of like,
what do you guys think of that, though, in terms of like taking sort of standard anything you can think of that's just front wheel drive, like a base model Golf or like a base model Honda boring tiny SUV, and
electrifying the back end?
yeah, electrifying the back end. It's kind of interesting.
Brent, you want to lead on this one?
I'd be a little afraid of the per se all-wheel drive system and how it works with the front side of it. I mean, yes, I know computers are all great and everything, but just give me all four electric or all four standard gas, Yeah, that's my thought on it, where, I just don't think it would work all that great compared to, say, Subaru or Audi. They're all.
I think what's competing with, Brent, it's more like competing with and Charlie, I want to see what you thought about this. Like, to me, it's competing with a $21,000 Subaru Impreza wagon, or like let's say a Crosstrek, because that's more like 25-ish, and these are going to be in like the mid 20s, and stuff like that.
22.
So, pardon me.
22.
Okay, so like,
Crosstrek.
okay, but people don't buy that one. So let's just say this is the $25,000 one. So like, because that's closer to what these are going to cost. Let's say that the cost isn't a thing. Like, to someone who's choosing between those two cars, this one's got 35 miles of pure electric, or 31 miles of it. And I could see it being sort of a bridging the gap. Like, Charlie, what do you think of that? Like, do you think that there's like, it might be a choice for someone who's looking at a $25,000 Crosstrek in this?
I think it is good to have those options. I don't know that they will sell well. I think the overlap of someone who's like, I want to buy a Jeep, which is essentially let's be real, it has the aerodynamics of a brick. So you just kind of go into ownership of a Jeep of like, I'm not worried about gas mileage. I'm not like, I think it is a clever workaround for an expansion of markets for like, city owners. Like, that's a new market, because they're like, oh, well, like it gets a green tax pass, and now you can own it in a smog area, and it's going to be, or it qualifies for, what was it? We used to do the HOV lanes that had electric car and ultra low emissions exemptions, whatever.
Is that the one where Brent used to have the blow up doll with the mouth open? He would put that in the seat next to him to get on the HOV.
I mean, however you want to get around them, that's blow up doll, mask.
I mean, that's what he did. He used to talk about it all the time. It was kind of strange,
whatever.
Actually.
That's fine.
It worked.
Yeah. I'm not gonna knock it if it works.
In what way did it work?
Both.
Okay, both. Okay.
Hey, I'm not gonna, no kink shaming here. But yeah, I'm gonna go with side with Brent on this as well. I'm kind of like, it doesn't interest me as a buyer. Like, I know I look at it from like, it's knowing that like fleet MPG has to keep going up. They're gonna keep.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Is I know that average has to be I forget now.
Some percent, yeah.
Percent each year is supposed to go up and whatnot. So I think that's their kind of their workaround is that yes, it's going to be on the books, but they might only make 1,500 this year for it
Exactly.
and maybe sell 700 of them. They don't really care. It's going to be kind of a write-off for them.
Yeah, so someone's going to buy them, and even if the dealers take a loss on it, they'll, the company dealerships will make money on the service packages, whatever. So I don't know. It's kind of like a non-interest to me. Like, I hear, what was it? Honda was just talking about, or there was like some report that came out earlier this week that was like, oh, Honda's going to put an electric motor in the Type R and it'll be a rear wheel electric motor and make it all wheel drive and push like 400 horsepower or something. And it's like, I don't know, man. Like that sounds a bit of a long shot. Like they might make that available for some markets. I don't think it'll be, I want to be proven wrong and like hear that it is a great advantage. And like suddenly you have people with Type R's with hybrid motors that are just buzzing around in eco mode, but I don't think that's the case.
I don't know. I actually think that, for me, actually, I think the idea, not necessarily these Jeeps and stuff like that, but maybe the Prius or maybe like a Renegade. Like I actually find it pretty marketable. Actually, I think that if you think about it, an all-wheel drive Tesla is how much? It's like $50,000. And so what you have is you have the ability for someone to have an electric car for 30 miles. Which for, you live in Charlottesville, Charlie, you probably rarely drive 30 miles. And like, they're not going to be terribly expensive. They're going to be, mid to high 20s. Like, the Prius all-wheel drive is like 26 or something like that, 27. And I think you get the four-wheel drive thing. So you have yours, that sort of like four-wheel drive thing if you need it, or all-wheel drive really. But you also get a taste of Tesla.
Yeah.
And it's significantly cheaper. If the Teslas were, if you could get an all-wheel drive one for anywhere near that, sure, full electric would be much cooler. But I think there's a market for it. I think it might do okay. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah. Again, I'm optimistic for it. I hope that it succeeds. But I'm not holding my breath out here hoping like suddenly there's going to be like this, we've had hybrids now for we're in 2020. Cheap hybrids have been out there for 15 plus years now. Like, I think people who want them will get them, like, and like a hybrid Crosstrek I think is brilliant because like that caters to a market segment that like, Brent rightly said, like Subaru gives a lot of money back to, like outdoor organizations and, all these, like, they have that perception of like almost Sierra Club-ish, like,
And when you can get almost 500 miles to a full tank, that's
right. Like that's like,
that's a lot.
like, that's like when I had my diesel, that was, the goal was a 500 mile tank was like, you're doing well.
Just want to quickly point out the hybrid Subaru Crosstrek starts at $35,000.
I would not be surprised to hear that the Jeep will also probably start at that.
Yeah, I was hoping it'd be more like the Prius to be in the 20s, but hey, let's move on to something else.
Yeah,
It's the last thing I got, and then I'm going to shut up. You guys can talk, and I will stop jabbering away.
No, you're just,
we all deep in our core wish that Lamborghini would de-Countach their design language. Actually, that's just me. We talked about this last week, didn't we? Where I was sort of like, Lambo, why are you still designing the same car you have since 1974? Like, you can do other things. Was that?
Yeah.
Were we recording for that, or was it after?
It wasn't last week, but it was a little few episodes back.
It was
Yeah.
a while ago.
So I found out more about it. They in 2006 did a retro Mura. It was sort of during the whole Ford GT era and stuff. I don't think I'm set up to present.
Yeah. We got the internet. We can find it.
Actually, I think I am. Share. Oh. So Maxima. Oh, no, go away. Bam.
Cool.
So this is it. And this is exactly what I was talking about. Like, the wheels are exact reproductions of the originals, but just bigger. But like, I just think that Lambo used to do angular type cars like the Espada and stuff like that. And then they had the Mura, and the Mura had sexy curves like a Ferrari or something. And of course, they would be pissed if I said like a Ferrari, you know, but with the bad blood between those two. But like, there is no Lamborghini that has a continuously curved front fender like that. They haven't had it since 1974, and that's why I always think they're stuck in the past. And it's funny that I think they're stuck in the past because I can stop sharing now. So I read an article from Jalopnik back in 2006 about the car, and I think that all the Countach-y stuff that's in the modern Lamborghinis is very very retro. But of course, this is not the right article. I thought it was. Maybe it was in the Wikipedia one. But anyway, so yes, here it is. So at the time, the Lamborghini president, and this is a Wikipedia article if anyone wants to read it. It's a CEO, Stefan Winkelmann. That has to be made up. Stefan Winkelmann? I don't know, whatever. So the thing is, he says that the Mura would not be returning to production in this form. Because to quote him, he says, the Mura was a celebration of our history, this prototype. But Lamborghini is about the future. Retro design is not what we are here for. So we will not do the Mura. And I argue that every bloody thing they've done is Countach, which is pretty damn retro considering it came out like 3 years after the Mura stopped production, or maybe they were very close to each other. So I wanted to ask you guys, do you consider Lamborghini stuck in the past and Countaching? Or like this former CEO said, do you think that they only look forward and their designs have continued to move forward? I'll go with Brent.
I mean, every single iteration of their next car, yes, has hints to the past, but is also looking into the future though too. I mean, the Murcielago there, I mean, yes, it's got great hints of the Countach, but it's also going in a different direction. I would say in a per se better direction as well. And I mean, that's going to be everybody's opinion though too. So that's my opinion. And then when you get to the Aventador and, going down that line, it looks better and better. I will say after seeing the Aventador, I mean, I see one probably every week. I'm not gonna lie.
Name dropping.
And I'll just randomly look out the window and see one over across the road there, and
I see squirrels.
they are boats. They are huge cars, and that's where while I know the Countach was also a big car too, it seems like every other sedan and every other car really on the road, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and I hate that. Whereas I'll see Ferrari, usually like a 488 across over there too, and to me that's a perfect size car. It's got after seeing them multiple times next to each other, or right around the same time, it's got so much better lines, especially when you're 10 floors above it, and looking down at it, they look so good from every angle compared to the Lamborghini. Yes, I would love to have a Lamborghini, but to me, I also want a car that I can look at any angle and love.
So Charlie, do you think that Lamborghini is moving forward with their design, or same question, or do you think that they're still a little too Countach-y, or what?
I think Lamborghini has a very good idea of what their brand is, and I kind of went with the same answer as I think we had in the previous conversation. I think they have a very good understanding of like Lamborghini is all about like big aggressive angle, like it's so much it's ego, right? Like it is for, you don't buy a Lamborghini because you want something subtle and like understated. You want, like, and I think that's where like the beauty of a Lamborghini Miura is that it's very understated. Like if you aren't looking for it, it could literally drive down the road and like you probably would never even notice. But like a Huracan, an Aventador, even the Urus, like they are 100% made for grabbing your attention, whether you like it or not. And it's, which like, I think that is, by design that they are holding on to that. I don't think they are stuck in the past because I feel like every iteration, like what was it, the Reventon, and every special edition gets like more, I think that quote from Stefan was actually really good, where like every one of them, Lamborghini is all about futurism design. And futurism to them is lower, wider, more angular, more aggressive.
The doors.
Yes. And I think that is, they have the recipe figured out for them. And I think that I think they'll continue to push it. I mean, like, I don't know. I think it's interesting. They came out with the Urus, which is like a little more understated in some sense. Like
it's really not though.
Yeah.
Seeing it in pictures might, I think, understate the car, but you'll know when one's showing up down the road.
Yeah.
And that's actually one thing that I was going to bring up. You'll know a Lamborghini from a mile away.
Yeah.
Even on a stock exhaust system.
Yeah.
I mean, there'll be multiple times where they'll be revving their engines across the road and whatnot. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's the Lamborghini. Sure enough, an Aventador is sitting there. And I'm like, there you go. So
now the question is, so I think what I'm picking up on more on the Urus is the fact that it's a platform mate with the Q8. I think
so. Yeah.
It's the MLB platform, which is all cross platform. I think even the Atlas maybe is on the same one, and that's maybe what I'm picking up on. And now the question,
I was going to say it should be.
Yeah, I'm pretty certain they're all MLB. But question is, I know the Q8 is even closer in terms of like sharing everything. And I wonder if you can put a Lamborghini Urus exhaust on a Q8. And now I'm like, ooh, that would be like,
I would say yes.
It's like the nerdy ultimate OEM plus like modification, like one that I can never afford. And I like, obviously if you can afford a Q8, you would just say like, I'll just go buy a nice exhaust from literally any manufacturer out there. But I don't know. Fun thought.
I think Lambo for me is just, I'll sort of sum up my point of view on this too, is that I'm not against the whole Countach thing, but everything y'all have described that makes a Lambo, except for colors, started with the Countach. Like the Miuras came in flashy neon greens and crazy yellows and stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
And the point of that was shock, just like it's a billboard on wheels, go buy a Lamborghini. But the doors, the angularity, all that stuff, the impracticality to a degree, the larger, the whatever. I'm not saying that should go away. I love that. But to say that's something that happened 10 years into Lamborghini's existence should define it forever, I think is too much. I think that there's room and there's spectrum for a car that is a little more subtle, Charlie, that is designed not to be shocking and powerful and masculine and angular, but to be, Mira is the ultimate of this, is the balance between like a femininity and sort of a masculine strength and like cool colors, and it doesn't have to have folding up doors, like I think there's room for that in their portfolio. And I just think they're limiting themselves. I don't think it doesn't have to be retro. It doesn't have to look exactly like a Mira. I wouldn't even want it to be called a Mira, but
it doesn't
like
have to be. But with the Mira, I feel like, especially at that time, they were really similar with Ferrari, especially with the looks and everything of that. When the Countach came out, you knew that was a Lamborghini going down the road, and they kept with that because everybody knew that was a Lamborghini.
Yeah.
Now, going on design, they got Audi underneath them as well. So there's your R8, which would be the equivalent of a Huracan. And yes, the R8's probably a little bit cheaper between the two, but you basically have a Lamborghini sitting right there just under an Audi badge.
yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know. I just think that they could. I just think, guys, they could have the Huracan. They could have. Is the Aventador the big one now? I can't remember.
Yes.
Okay,
That's the
isn't that getting
V12.
kind of long in the tooth? But anyway, but I'm just saying they could have another model. It's another series of. It's sort of the equivalent of a Huracan mechanically to maybe save some money, but throw in some curves. Don't have Lambo doors. Just shake it up, and I bet you
That's where the Huracan comes in. They don't have Lambo doors.
they don't.
Nope.
Right.
They
Well,
got normal people doors.
I'm just saying, like, give me a beautiful Lamborghini and like a lottery ticket. Game on, gentlemen.
You could
all I
just do
got.
a kit car around your Fiesta.
That's insulting. My Fiesta is the most beautiful jelly bean on earth. Reminds me of the time we were at Cars and Coffee, and this like starts with a B and ends with Umer. Was standing next to his Nova that he was polishing, and he's like, I don't understand these these cars today. They all look like jelly beans. And he didn't realize it was my car, and I was standing next to it, and I turned on and I was like, yeah, my jelly bean is a lot faster than your car. And then I walked away.
That's great.
There you go. And on that note, thanks for joining in on another episode of Delusions of Automotive Grandeur. And yeah, if you liked it, like, subscribe, share it with friends, get us shown around the world, come back for more. We'll be around.
We need that 14th subscriber, ladies and gentlemen. Come on.
We do.
Is an
Come on.
Audi R8 Kylo Ren?
If you enjoyed DAG Show, please like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. We are also available on iTunes and Spotify by searching for Delusions of Automotive Grandeur. Thanks again for tuning in, and as always, may the grandeur of your automobiles be delusional